Пуля дальнего боя пуля.
Tonight on Tau Flittermouse, we will be testing the Russian PPD sabot slug for the first time in the United States.
И помните, безопасность превыше всего.
This is the PPD slug. Stands for Poliv Long Range Slug, loosely in English. This was generously donated to us by Alexey PhD from Russia. This utilizes a discarding gas seal along with a 3-piece discarding sabot array. Now typically when you think of a sabot slug, you're thinking of something that's shot out of a rifle shotgun, but they don't really have too many rifle shotguns in Russia, so this is designed for stable flight out of a smoothbore shotgun. The small plastic fins on the tail assembly are slanted slightly, which are supposed to give it a little bit of a spin as it goes down range. 6 of the slugs I loaded with 30 grains of Longshot, which should give a velocity of 1,500 feet per second, and for one slug I loaded with 40 grains of Longshot, which should give it a velocity of around 1,700 feet per second.
I like it! I like it!
These have a very efficient gas seal. If you try to push it in there, the air pressure just springs it back out. So by adding that thread, it allows the air to bleed off, and it works really well. And that tip was given to me by Boris, the guy that sent the L5 slugs. Here's a few charts and graphs that Alexey sent, and to be honest with you, I have no idea what they're even mean, but hopefully someone can get some good information from that. I'm just the dummy who's filming this stuff. Greg is the guy shooting them, or Danny, or whoever. So let's get out there and see how these perform. Shooting for us today is Officer Greg. It's a little bit windy today, actually really windy, so I clipped out a lot of the audio just to spare our sanity.
Oh my God! That had some stout recoil.
Oh, okay. That was only 30 grains too.
Oh my! This is why speed kills when it comes to ammunition, folks. That thing almost burrowed all the way through. Look at that.
Oh. And that was just lead, so if it was steel, it probably would have pierced it, but
Man.
Just a little bit off, so we've got to figure out where these things are shooting and then adjust to that.
And I will tell you, that thing had a little sharp recoil too.
Yeah,
Quite
like
the thump.
like a big rifle round.
So scary that Doug turned his back.
More often than not, when we get these slugs, we have so few that we can't take any practice shots, so we have to take some shots, figure out where they land, and make minor adjustments along the way. Here comes the slug. You can see my paint markings on there. There appears to be a slight amount of clockwise rotation, which corresponds with the angles of the fins on the slugs, but not very much. I was expecting a bit more. Often we see a bright flash when the slugs impact this 20-pound lead plate, but we didn't see any of that at all this time. Okay, fire! In this shot, I wanted to get the entire flight in focus. I wanted to see the separation of those 3 sabot petals. And that's really difficult with a high-speed camera where you need as much light as possible, but I closed down that aperture to f5.6. And that, of course, gave me the deeper depth of focus. More things are in focus, but that comes at a steep price because everything becomes really dark. But I like to push myself with the Chronos high-speed camera, because you'll see a lot of guys that have these cameras, they just run it at 1,500 frames per second, which is a breeze to work with.
All right, thanks Anthony from Sonora, California. He sent this tacky acrylic Bermuda for us to shoot. By the way, tacky acrylic Bermuda makes a nice name for an 80s retro fusion reggae band that I'll be starting up here in the winter. So we're gonna put this thing, you can see it's pretty thick.
Yeah, it's an inch over, I think it's over an inch thick. I don't know.
Sure.
Is it bulletproof? You want to know if it's bulletproof. So these slugs would be a good good test.
Let's give it a try. We're going to set it on the Harley Davidson plant stand and see what we can do to it.
I don't know. I don't know if the camera can even focus on that thing.
Yeah,
no, it's okay. You can fire whenever you're ready.
All right, right on Bermuda. Whoa!
Whoa! It split it.
Bermuda. Hey, Danny, we're going to need some more welding work here.
He's bear hunting this week.
What?
Yeah.
Instead of welding?
Yeah.
So Danny repaired this for us once. We're going to need a little repair work again.
Look at that.
The 50-cent plant stand needs to be revived over and over again. So there was Bermuda. I think it was sitting this direction.
I think
Bermuda was in the back because I was reading it as I left.
Oh, okay.
And it said Bermuda facing outward. So
I don't know how that didn't end up in the canals. We're like between two canals. What's Doug doing over there? Is he fishing?
I think he's taking a leak.
Oh, okay. Right.
Don't bother him. But yeah, look at that snap right in half.
Wow.
So it's like dried out ballistic gel.
All right, here comes the slug. Again, we don't see a whole lot of rotation, very little. It looks like it just moved a few degrees clockwise in this shot. Again, the shot is low. And I'm starting to think now, in hindsight, that my powder load of 30 grains was just a little bit too much, affecting the barrel harmonics. And probably, I'm thinking 27 grains probably would have been ideal for these things. I'm pretty sure we couldn't have hit that metal stand if we tried, but still it managed to break that acrylic piece of art there and break it in half. Pretty impressive.
Okay, Misha the bear. Where are you aiming at?
I'm going to aim at his forehead because these have been going low.
Okay. Okay, fire at will. Look how far that thing went out there.
See that puff way out there?
Yeah.
All right, here it comes. Looks like we had about 12 degrees of rotation at best from the time it entered the frame until it impacted. Again, accuracy wasn't ideal. He was aiming at the forehead. This is where it gets really weird though. Watch that wadding. And this gives you an idea how much energy a wadding at 10 yards still has. It hits the face and flicks that plastic nose off the bear.
Humiliation.
And that is why I love high-speed cameras so much, just capturing weird stuff like that you normally wouldn't even know occurred. Alright, at this point Greg thinks he knows where the slugs are going, so let's take a shot at 73 yards at Doug and see how these perform.
Long range test.
73 yards, 67 meters.
Okay, that's a pretty long range there. Whoop!
Alright, 73 yards, and he nearly hit that patch on that shirt. Look at that impact. Very, very substantial. The slug was really buried in that Kevlar vest that Doug was wearing, and look at the expansion of that slug. Next we'll move the target back to almost 100 yards, so let's see how that works out.
Okay, almost 100 yards. Was it 98 yards?
98 yards, 89 meters.
Ah!
As you can see here, the shot went just to the left of Doug. Do we blame Greg? Do we blame the slug? Do we blame the optics on Greg's gun? Do we blame the wind? I don't know. That's why it gets really subjective when you're shooting at 100 yards. Let's try some regular Foster slugs and see how those compare.
2 3/4 inch deer slug.
100, almost 100 yards. Whenever you're ready.
Tell you what, I don't know where that one went either.
I saw a dust kick up way out there, but it's a long ways for a slug. Okay, whenever you're ready. Now, he clipped him.
Did it?
I saw him move.
Now I'm just pissed. Keep shooting until we hit it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, miserable.
What are they doing now?
You hit the truck out there. You knocked down an airplane. Oh my, he's going. Last one.
I can't tell where they're going though.
They might be going high because they're not kicking the dirt up.
That one looked like it was left, didn't it?
I think so. You're not hitting low because it's not kicking up dust in front of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so that one I actually held down here on his belly button.
Oh, really? Maybe your sight's off again or
I
something.
was holding them up here earlier, thinking they would drop a little.
Okay. They might be going high because they're not kicking the dirt up.
And finally he hits it and very close to where that PPD slug hit.
There you go.
But you'll notice in this shot, Doug's glasses stayed on, his hat stayed on. Let's compare that with the PPD slug. Big difference there in impact.
Will a frying pan save you from a shotgun
From a
slug?
Russian slug.
Russians. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Here we go.
Oh!
Oh my God, look at his lens.
I know.
Now if 30 grains is too much powder, then 40 grains is probably way too much powder. Looks like we may have lost the plastic stabilizer tail on this shot. It's kind of hard to tell, but when I froze it, it looked like it was missing. I mean, we had a lot of velocity. The slug went right through that cast iron pan and right through Doug's Kevlar
I
vest.
think his vision, that is for
At
sure.
least his glasses are still usable, you know.
Thank goodness.
I know, those are
We don't
stylish.
have to go out and get a 27-cent pair of glasses again. Look at that. Bing.
Wow, very cool.
Bought him, Doug.
More shrapnel on his chest.
Hey, was this here before?
I don't know.
I don't think that was.
That goes.
That's it. That is it. I think that round went through.
Oh, okay.
Went through the pan because this wasn't here, folks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it went through Doug.
That's the exit.
Through the
exit
Kevlar.
one. And through Doug's little chair.
Not the chair.
Speaking of a 27-cent object.
Very, very cool.
And I want to take a minute to thank our patrons. You guys are really helpful in keeping this channel alive. You've seen a lot of channels that are just stop uploading. And it seems like the future of surviving on YouTube is from viewer support. And of course, I never wanted to accept a dime from anybody. And I feel guilty when people donate more than $1 a month. And I'll be honest with you, $1 a month, hey, that makes me happy. And of course, we never have gotten rich from YouTube or from Patreon. These funds just keep our heads above water and allow us to buy the fancy top ramen instead of the cheap stuff. And of course, if you can't afford donating any money or don't want to, hey, that's understandable. I get it. But you can also help us by leaving a nice comment. We're pretty good about replying to comments. Hit that like button. That makes us feel good. And that's sometimes more valuable than money. Thanks for watching, guys.